Last episode of Knowledge on the Rocks, we talked a little bit about some of the weird types of insurance that underwriters see, things like alien abduction insurance or hole-in-one insurance. And not all insurance is that out there, but an underwriter is somebody that has to make sort of tricky decisions day in and day out. And we're fortunate enough to have two former underwriters right here, and that's what we're going to be talking about in today's Knowledge on the Rocks. Today we've got Jim Ahern and Diana Schmidt with us, and both of them have underwriting experience prior to coming to Hausman Johnson. So why don't you two just take a couple of seconds, introduce yourselves, and then I've got some questions for you. So Di, why don't you take it away?
Diana Schmidt, I'm a property and casualty consultant with Hausman Johnson. I was a property and casualty underwriter for about 15 years before coming to the agency.
And I'm Jim Ahern, VP of Risk Management at Hausman Johnson Insurance. I was with Cincinnati Insurance for about 8 years, managing their South Central Wisconsin territory.
Okay, so we've got a pretty good wealth of experience here that we can lean on here. So when you go and purchase an insurance policy, you normally go through your agent, and then that agent goes to an insurance carrier, and the person they work with at those insurance companies is an underwriter. So Jim, tell me a little bit about what an underwriter does on a day-to-day basis and some of the things that weigh on them as they make their decisions on a day-to-day basis.
I'll start.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So an underwriter is going to take a look at the submission the agent puts together, and they're going to try to take a look at the past to try to predict the future.
Sure.
So they're going to look at any trends maybe in losses that they might have had to try to predict how much premium they're going to need to cover the future losses.
Okay. So Jim, in a situation like that where you've got one business in one industry, that business isn't just in a vacuum, though. There's lots of other businesses like it that an under might interact with on a day-to-day basis. So how do those other businesses' experience impact how an underwriter looks at the client in front of them?
Sure. Well, I look at it as maybe two separate things in the sense that an underwriter sees what they see on paper, but then there's also what they see that's not on paper. And there's a lot of intangibles that go on with what they don't see on paper. And an underwriter might get out to see a business and actually walk through it, talk with the owners, talk with the executive management. And there's a lot to be said for that, because a lot can be said for what's not on paper, just in terms of how well a business runs itself.
Sure.
Yeah, the more you can learn about the business and their story behind, who they are and where they want to go, the underwriter will go, try to do more and advocate for better terms and conditions. Usually, if the agent hasn't told a good story or they don't have access to any more than just the numbers on the paper, it's hard to really build a case for doing anything better for them.
Sure. That makes sense. So obviously you two don't work for the insurance company anymore. You work for Hausman Johnson and you work for our clients, really. So how can you take the experience that you two have had as underwriters, and how does that impact how you're able to help the clients that we've got?
Yeah.
I think the best value that we can bring is that perspective of how it works on the inside of an insurance company. What really goes on, what tools and resources an underwriter has at their disposal when it comes to credit structure, dividends, resources in terms of claims handling, right? Our risk control services. And carriers can vary quite a bit in terms of what they can offer and what they don't want to offer for different reasons.
Right. Yeah, I would say most of the time as an underwriter, we would win and lose on service. So, it's a pretty good chance that maybe what could have been promised wasn't delivered. So if we can kind of work through that and try to bring the value and add that service, improve their coverage and maybe try to improve pricing, then we're going to win.
Yeah. So it sounds like having that underwriting experience allows you to see levers that you can pull that you might not know can be pulled if you didn't have that sort of in-house experience, which ultimately is going to help our clients then, because they're going to have somebody that's in the best position to advocate for them going forward.
That's exactly right. I would also add that it helps in our sales approach to the underwriter, right? We're in a position where we've got to sell a business's insurance program to the underwriter.
Yeah.
And I'm going to focus on what our client is doing well from a risk management standpoint, and likely minimize what they may not be doing so well, but maybe preempt it a little bit and say, well, here's some of the things that they're working on.
Yeah.
Right. And to take that a little bit further too, with the client, then we can say, hey, this is how the carrier will view you, but we can help you with these different tools or risk control services to actually raise the bar for you, so that moving forward, that's not a hindrance to the carrier. So.
Awesome. That's fantastic. So thank you so much for what you're doing. Thanks for helping our clients right here. There may be times, believe it or not, when you just don't want to deal with an insurance company at all. And as nice as these two folks are, you don't want to deal with underwriters. You don't want to deal with an insurance company. You want to be your own insurance company. And that's actually something you can do, believe it or not. Next episode, we're going to be talking about micro captives and what it means to be your own insurance company. Thanks for watching here today. Be sure to like us on Facebook and LinkedIn and subscribe to us on YouTube to catch the next episode. Jim, Di, cheers. Thanks for coming in.
Woohoo!